gents. Bear with me as I'm in my car driving, running errands. I used to do live videos all the time, and then I went through some personal shit and had to be broken down to my extreme core of who I was and figure out my shit. In that, I am trying to find my vulnerability again. I live in rural Kansas, but it's a small town. So in order to go anywhere, I have probably a good 20-30 minute drive. As I'm driving, though, I'm looking at the barren land around me. And since I'm driving, I'm not going to pick up the phone and show you the barren land next to me and around me, because that would be dangerous. I'm not going to do that. But it's the middle of winter in Kansas. The trees are completely barren. The grass is brown. Everything looks dead. There's just not really life in anything. So I wrote a blog post probably a year or two ago about the trees of life that people have. And if you want to take a read on it, you can hop on over there and read. Our lives are kind of like the season and changing of trees. Right now, we have winter, barren trees, no leaves. They're just kind of dead. Now, they're not dead, but they look dead. They're brittle and cold. And after that, we have spring. Spring is when newness is starting to emerge, and you have the leaves coming and the buds sprouting, and the color is starting to become more apparent in the trees and the grass and the flowers and every living thing around you. And then in the summer, they are in their full beauty, if you consider that full beauty. Full beauty can be summer and fall, depending on who you are, but in this story, we're going to call the trees in the summer their full beauty. They are at their peak. They have gathered all that they needed through the winter and through the spring to bloom and blossom into the fullness that they are in the summer. So then you have fall, and there is a beauty that comes with the fall, the changing colors, and things start falling away. And then you're back to winter. And the barren trees that I see around me, and the darkness. They're just kind of black and brown and no beauty to them. As women and men, we go through kind of the same things in our life. Our life is not one full season, meaning we don't have one winter, we don't have one spring, we don't have one summer, and we don't have one fall. The last few years have been pretty difficult for me. I was avoiding and ignoring things that needed to be addressed, and that was taking a toll internally on my body. And so my depression was becoming more apparent, and the anxiety was showing its ugly head more, because there were things that needed to be addressed that I was just ignoring and choosing not to address. So how does this relate to the tree? Well, I was in a season of winter where you've lost some of the beauty that you have about you, and then you are faced with a cold winter. During that cold winter, you are put through extreme temperature changes, ice storms, and the ice storms that weigh the branches down and can break branches. And the branches that remain are the branches that are full of life, and those branches that remain are the ones that hold your core values. All those other branches that have broken from the ice storms around you are the things that you don't really need in life, and they're going to break as you're going through hard times. You're going to shed those. There is also nourishment going on. Healing and growth is during winter. That is when the soil is nourishing the roots, and they're growing deeper and deeper into the ground to get to warmth, because they're so cold on the surface of the earth. Those are hard times. Pressure, it's kind of like the story of the diamond. You know, the diamond is a rock, and only through heat and pressure does it become a beautiful, beautiful diamond. That's winter for us, folks. Without our winters, we're not going to have spring, and we're not going to have summer, and we're not going to have fall. So what does spring look like for you? Maybe you're in the time of where I am right now and starting to grow out of that darkness and starting to heal and put the things in place that maybe you learned during your winter. And those blooms start happening. You start feeling the blooming in your soul. Summer is when we're at our prime. It's when we feel like we are on top of the world. We feel like we have got life figured out. And I can almost bet that there are times in your life, just like there has been in mine, where I have been like, I've got my shit together. You are full of your beauty. You aren't doing any really hard work at the moment internally or any of that. You don't really have a lot of things going on around you that are taking a toll on your body or emotionally or any relationships. They're all just pretty good. And then fall comes. And fall is usually the point in time where things start to fall away. The branches that you lose in the winter are the branches that you hold internally that you have to let go, that are usually pretty hard to do. The branches are broken from you, and that hurts and that's painful. Those branches that you lose in the winter may be a childhood hurt that you have to work through, and that branch is then broken from your body and you're able to grow a new one there, or nourish the ones that are there to support you and not just be beautiful. In fall, though, you're not losing branches, you're losing leaves and some of the beauty that is the outside world. You may have a friendship that changes. It doesn't really affect who you are in the core, but it's a friendship that just kind of drifts away. So the leaves that you lose in the fall are greatly different than the branches you lose in the winter. If I were to give a good example of my life in the past, well, we'll say 7 years since the Ruffled Daisy has been in business, and the Ruffled Daisy has been a part of my life. In the beginning, it was a spring. It was amazing, and there was newness, and just like personally, you know, businesses go through the same thing. And then there was a point when it was on fire, and it was amazing. I was rocking it on the top, and that was a great summer. And then fall started coming, and I could tell that there were changes in me that were happening, which in turn meant that there were changes in my business that were going to happen. So then winter hit me. I've had to do a lot of internal work. What I realized was I was constantly trying to help other people do their internal work, and I wasn't doing it myself. That was pretty convicting. That was when winter hit me big time. It came and it stayed for a while. There were many, many, many branches that broke off of me, and it hurt me to the core. You know, sometimes when there's a ice storm and you have, I will give you an example, Bradford pear trees are notorious for being soft trees and break very easily in winter ice storms. You may drive along the road and see a Bradford pear that's had damage from an ice storm, and that is split right down the middle. Or the middle of the tree is intact, but it had several large branches come off of it. But one of the branches is completely gone now. That can happen in our lives in winter. Maybe you're a widow now. Maybe one of those branches was your spouse, whom you no longer have. It can be through death. It can be through divorce. But that's a very, very big branch that used to be a part of who you were that's no longer there. Just remember that if you're in winter, your spring is coming. and your summer is coming. And remember that when you're in summer, that autumn is coming and winter will hit again. Take your times of summer and enjoy them and embrace them. When you hit winter, take it for what it is. Yes, you can be sad. Yes, you can grieve. Yes, you can feel the pain. Yes, you can hurt. You can feel all of those things when you're in winter, because in feeling those things, you're going to figure out what those things mean to you and what they're teaching you. But embrace them. This dark time is not going to last forever. This dark time is going to make way to beautiful sunny skies, and you're going to look back on that time and know that, oh my gosh, that was the hardest winter. Think about it. I live in the middle of the country, and so we get to experience all the seasons. And I can remember winters that were just harsh, and then there are winters that aren't so hard. The same goes for summers. And so remember what season you're in, and use each season that you have to heal yourself, to grow yourself, to encourage yourself. And if you are in any season that is not winter, then let your amazing spring and summer growth help heal someone else. You know, when I was in my winter last year, I was doing a lot of work for myself, and I didn't have anything to give to anybody. Spring is coming, and I can take all of the things that I have learned and share them with you, so that when you are in your times of winter, I can encourage you that there will be a spring and a summer, because I have experienced those seasons, and you have too. I ask you, what season are you in right now? And how are you going to use that season in your life? Are you going to take winter and just curl in a ball and wait for it to leave? Sure, you can do that. But your next winter is probably going to be a little bit harder, because you didn't take what this winter was teaching you and put it into effect during the next year or 5 years, however long it takes you to get through your seasons. Or you can take your winter and use it to do some hard work, because I guarantee you that hard work is going to be amazing, and that next summer that you have is going to be better than the last summer you had. So, what season are you in? How are you using that season of life to make your next season better than the last?